I will soon be putting together a task force, one with a mandate to explore organizational models that have proven successful in promoting diversity and inclusivity, both inside and outside their organization. This task force will be tasked with finding and recommending strategies to help us build bridges and strengthen relationships with all potential singers and audience members in our communities, regardless of race, religion, nationality, sexual orientation, gender expression, or physical abilities. As we build and solidify these relationships, we begin today by acknowledging our own organizational history. Thanks to the work of music historians, we know that from the mid-19th century to the early 20th century, what became known as barbershop harmony flowed from the melting pot of people who lived in and came to America. With strong influence from African American roots, it became popular to enjoy harmonizing, first hymns and folk songs, and ultimately popular songs of the day. Particularly in the South, the improvisational nature of this harmony was very common in Black communities, especially where the men gathered in barbershops. The art form quickly spread throughout America in popularity by means of vaudeville and Tin Pan Alley. When the barbershop style of singing began to decline in popularity in the late 1920s, some of those that loved that close harmony and a cappella singing banded together. And in 1938, they founded what is now known as the Barbershop Harmony Society. But not to be left out, a women's organization soon followed. In 1945, Sweet Adelines was founded in Tulsa, Oklahoma. The beginning of our organization, unfortunately, did reflect the segregated society of the day, as did virtually all American social organizations during that time. Due to the escalating conflict and violence in American civil rights in the 1950s, fear gripped our society as well as our organization. It has been said that fear makes strangers of people who would be our friends. That was true then, and we can still see that it is true today in places. A fearful and painful decision was made in 1958 to officially add what is now known as the color bar rule in our organizational bylaws and membership requirements. This addition formally blocked membership in the organization for any women of color. 8 years later, the 1966 Board of Directors eliminated that color bar, making this year, 2016, the 50th anniversary of this very important decision. We can never know for sure how Sweet Adelines would be different today if we had welcomed women of color into our membership in those early years. But we can imagine. If looking at women of color singing today in Sweet Adelines is any indication, it is easy to imagine the many contributions and endless possibilities that might have been added to our history. One woman of color who sought a place on our risers in the early 1960s was a Canadian tenor named Lana Klaus. She was initially welcomed into her chorus, but ultimately denied membership into the international organization and subsequently into her chorus as well. With the passing of the 1964 Civil Rights Act in the United States, the voices for change, both inside and outside our organization, became stronger and stronger, and in 1966, the color bar exclusion was finally removed. It has been 50 years since we eliminated that color bar rule. Today, we are blessed to have women of color throughout our organization, both as singers and as leaders. I am delighted to introduce to you tonight one of those women. She is the daughter of Lana Klaus and a member of Sweet Adelines International who currently serves as the Assistant Director of the Ontario Heartland Chorus in Ontario, Canada. At this time, I'd like to ask Valerie Klaus to join me on stage. Valerie, in acknowledgement of our past and in recognition of the 50th anniversary of the elimination of the color bar rule, Sweet Adelines International would like to extend this posthumous lifetime membership to your mother, Lana Klaus. Understanding her desire to sing and enjoy the sisterhood of her chorus, as well as knowing the struggle experienced by her fellow chorus members, it leads us to an even greater understanding of our past and a stronger determination to move into our future, actively embracing diversity and inclusion. We are thankful to have you with us today, as together we acknowledge Lana and unknown others that we did not have the privilege to know or to join our voices with in harmony. While we cannot change the past, today we dedicate ourselves to being an example of real change and hope in our world, to live out our motto with even greater understanding of what it means. It is not a cliche saying or a forgotten message. Today, we will begin to be a living example of what it means to harmonize the world. I wasn't supposed to get emotional up there. In honor of Lana and as a gift to Valerie, we do have a plaque here that says, "In memory of Lana Klaus, acknowledging our past and embracing our future with inclusion for all women, Sweet Adelines International, October 18th, 2016. You can set it there. I have asked Valerie to say a few words to you at this time.
Thank you so much, Paula, and thank you, Sweet Adelines. During those difficult years, I think it's fair to say that our silence on the race question was often considered to be an act of loyalty to each other, to the board. No more. That messy, painful past is out in the full light of day, and it's here to teach us, not to haunt us. Lana would be glad about the honor. This gesture and acknowledgement of what was a very real, very messy time for her and for the entire Ottawa chapter. This, the membership and the beautiful memory award that honors her, I was not expecting that, sorry. I was like, oh. They together stand for Sweet Adelines, stepping forward and owning our rightful place in conversations about inclusion, not just racial inclusion, but all kinds. Barber shoppers everywhere already have skills galore to do this. Every week, choruses include all sorts of diverse voices to make some of the most heart-stopping music known to humanity. So, what now? My suggestion, reach out to someone different. Really reach out, because then, one new friendship at a time, we can truly harmonize the world. Thank you.